welcome everyone to another rip-roaring, coke-snorting...
Stop saying coke snorting.
I know.
Every time I let you do the intro, you always say coke snorting. I bet neither of us have ever snorted any sort of a coke, not even a Coca-Cola.
No, I can honestly say I have never snorted coke in my life. So
I'm scared of coke.
Scratch the coke snorting. I'll just say welcome to another ecstatically exciting, elastic episode of Stace and Barry in the Morning. This is season 4, episode 2, and as you can tell, my intros haven't gotten any better over the last 4 seasons. This is why Stace does the majority of them, and I just kind of sit in the background trying to look cool.
I think I'm going to have to start sending you like a list of acceptable adjectives to describe the podcast as that aren't things like elastic and coke snorting.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what is an elastic podcast exactly. What does that do?
It's this. That's
it stretches beyond your expectations, lads. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Or something. Hey everyone, sorry we're late. One of us got COVID. It was me. I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. It was me.
Yeah.
It was me. Look, I went to a conference for work and I came back with a slightly better understanding of the way that charity data works and COVID. So what are you going to do? Not podcast, that's for sure, because if you're anything like me, your throat hurts for a really long time and you can't form thoughts when you've got COVID. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I can't guarantee that this podcast is going to be that much better. Than when I was like fully blown COVID times, because there is a strong my brain feels like it just hasn't quite got back up to gear yet. So it's like, how about taking it slow? And I'm like, no, I want to talk to my friend Barry about things that I've seen and done and read and that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Shut it, COVID.
Yeah, shut up, COVID, you tart.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
You slag.
Shut it, you slag. COVID slag. I mean, you're not a COVID slag. I'm talking about COVID, the terrible disease pandemic thing.
Not me.
Not a new nickname, Stace the COVID slag. No.
Yeah, I don't accept that one.
No.
I've got a lot of nicknames that I've tried to force people to take off, but that one is not one of them. Please and thank you.
Moving on. I've got something that's going to make you smile.
Go on then.
Say you've got a fan.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, there's someone out there in the wild world who is a fan of the show. But more a fan of you than of me.
Where did they say that to your face?
No, but I kind of it was there.
Like, you know what I mean? Barry, is Stace there?
There was a lot of like, I really love Stace. I really love her accent. Everything she says is funny, and and you're on it. Do you know what I mean? But that's
a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to be funny.
Yeah. So if you could take a moment to say hello to H and V, I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
To who?
H and V. It's 2 people.
Oh, okay. Hello, H and V. Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you for thinking that I'm really funny. I don't do it on purpose. It's purely accidental divotry that causes
that makes it even worse. So there's me up until like late last night writing jokes and zingers and one-liners. Oh, they'll love that one. Or elastic, that will get them rolling.
What you've got to do is every now and again you've just got to casually drop rumbelows, and that'll get everybody cracking up.
I can't even deny it's made me laugh.
Rumbelows is objectively a very funny word, even out of context.
Anyway, we've been going for 7 minutes and we haven't even sniffed a segment. So let's do the segment.
Let's sniff it. Well, right, here's a problem though, is my nose is still full of snot. You might be able to vaguely hear it. So I can't do a trumpet. So I don't know if there's like some other sort of sound you want me to make, or whether you want to attempt a trumpet.
No, I got this.
Excellent. Which segment are we doing?
I was focusing on the trumpet.
It's hard, isn't it? You get lost in the rhythm and then you just think, oh no, I've lost it halfway through.
In my head I started it and I thought, I can't do this. And then it started to come like, this is working. And then suddenly I could see myself in the Royal Albert Hall doing the whole concert just like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to go into the Royal Albert Hall and just a singular man comes out and starts going. It would be It's so good.
You would be like, I've paid like 50 quid for this.
Yeah, I've got a hotel and travel to London for this, lads. What are we doing?
Shall we do a pick of the fortnight?
Yeah, let's. I've got two. I'm sorry.
I've got two as well. Boom.
That is what happens when you skip an episode because one of you comes down with a nightmare virus. You just see too many things. Would you want to just like alternate then, and I'll go, and then you can, and then I'll go again, and then you can again? Okay.
Yeah. That would be 4 then, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
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 Anyway, you go.
Okay. My first one is possibly unsurprisingly Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh.
Have you put your eyes on this yet?
No, this is with is it with Michelle Yeoh?
Michelle Yeoh, yeah. Oh, sorry, my throat's gone all funky already. No. Yes, it's I'll do the non-spoilery version of this, which is probably good because it means it'll be shorter.
Okay.
Do you know like roughly what the film is about?
I know it's to do with like parallel universes and stuff.
Yeah, okay. So Everything Everywhere All at Once is the sort of latest, I say latest actually, I think Men has come out now. But anyway, it's one of the most recent A24 studio movies. Mm-hmm. And it's basically about, I say basically, it's hard to basically this movie. A sort of ordinary lady who is running a laundromat and trying to look after her family and trying to get her taxes done, who suddenly becomes the one person who can save the entire multiverse from a threat which could basically like fracture everything and time and space and just sort of break everything as we know it. And it's what I loved about it is it's on the surface, it's a very funny and silly multiverse film with like lots of like daft multiverses and like weird stuff happening pretty much every single second. Like there's so much to look at. It's visually like an absolute feast. But what makes it like stand out over, I was going to say other multiverse movies, but are there even that many? It's just like this and Doctor Strange. But like what makes it stand out is the fact that it's also about like relationships between mothers and daughters and their expectations of one another. It's about being queer in a place where maybe being queer isn't necessarily the done thing. It's about depression. It's about despair. It's about that like awful sadness you feel when you think that, you know, when you get that feeling, and I don't know if this is just me, when you think, oh, is this it? Like you get up every day and you go to work and you come home and you do the housework and then you go to bed and then you do the same thing every day. And that's like, oh, and occasionally you'll have those moments where you're like, oh, what? Is this it then, lads? Yeah, it's definitely about that, but it's also like kind of hopeful in the sense of it's about like finding meaning in the things that aren't necessarily like massive, but they build up into like a worthwhile I'm trying so hard to dance around spoilers, but basically it's fucking wonderful. Okay. It's the one thing I will say, I'm trying really hard not to put it on too high of a pedestal, because the one thing I will say is that I read 3 separate reviews, non-spoilery reviews, before I went to see it, that said that it was like marking a change in cinema for the better and that it was going to change the way movies were made forever and stuff like this. And it is really fucking, it's phenomenally good. It's my movie of the year, but I don't necessarily think it's going to like change everything that there is about cinema. Like it's very good. So like just don't put it on too high of a pedestal, because then maybe you'll come out of it and be like, what did I miss? But in terms of like that, the whole cast is great. There's oh no, I forgot to write down her name. There's an actress who plays Michelle Yeoh's daughter, who is an absolute chef's kiss of an actress in this film, and it's just wonderful. Yeah, like absolutely loved it. Would happily watch it again right now, and then probably again straight after. Like,
it's also got the this is one of the things I remembered because I saw him being interviewed about it. It's got the actor in it who played Short Round in.
That's right, yes, and he is wonderful in it. Again, didn't write his name down. I'm a terrible human being. I'm going to blame COVID, even though I'm going to sail on this excuse for as long as I can.
Sail on COVID excuse.
I'm sorry, it's cut my brain. Yeah, no, he is absolutely wonderful in it, and it actually made me genuinely a little bit sad that he's not been doing a lot of acting, because I think there was an interview where he'd said that there just weren't roles for like Asian men, and that really upsets me to think that like that we've been missing out on this talent for so long because like filmmakers are fucking short-sighted divs.
And it still annoys me. I won't go into one. You can look at my podcast why Indiana Jones really pissed me off because of this reason podcast episode 1 that they had Shia LaBeouf in Indiana Jones and the
Crystal Skull.
Yes. God. Wow. Can't even blame COVID. Instead of having a adult short round.
Yeah.
Which would have kicked all kinds of ass.
It really would have. And I can tell you as well from this movie, it definitely wouldn't have been a case of like, oh, but could he do an action role? Yes, he can.
Yeah.
he really can.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, it really would have. But anyway, so what's your first pick of the fortnight, Ben?
So my first pick of the fortnight is one I'd never thought I would pick again, and that was season 4, volume 1 or part 1, I think, of Stranger Things.
It's good at it.
It proper. And the thing is, what I like is, in some ways, it did for me what the first season did. Now, the reason being, I watched the first season of Stranger Things, and I think we did it in the weekend, Sue and I.
Yeah.
And it was just phenomenal. You know, the whole 80s thing, it was kids, it was Goonies, you know, it was just everything, you know.
Yeah.
And it kind of come out of nowhere, which is what I liked about it. Then, for me, the subsequent seasons, I kind of enjoyed them and kind of didn't, because I kind of felt like they sort of lost that spark that they had in the first one, and I think they just kept trying to recreate Lion, which you couldn't really do. And I felt the 80s references were a bit more on the nose.
Yeah.
So when I went into this one, I mean, Sue stopped watching it. She stopped watching, I think, from after season 2. But when I went into this one, I went in with that almost a bit of a, I thought this was the last season. It turns out it isn't, but I thought this was the last season. So I went into this with that kind of like, well, I've come this far, so
you might as well. Yeah.
I might as well. And honestly, I was shocked by how much I enjoyed it.
Me too.
Properly shocked.
Because I'd said to Rich before, like, I really enjoyed season 1, and I vaguely remember enjoying season 2, but I felt like season 3 felt like a trailer for series 4. Like, it was very sort of like almost filler, if that makes sense. Like, it didn't feel like there was actually really a thing that we were aiming to get towards.
It had some good bits in it. But overall.
But it felt like you could have cut that down to like one episode and it would have made perfect sense still, and been probably a bit more exciting. But we watched all of series 4, volume 1, in like 2 days because I gave Rich COVID as well, of course, because you know you've got to share everything with your partner, haven't you?
Yeah, it's got.
And so, like, on the Friday, I think it came out it was either the Thursday or the Friday, we were both off work, like, cuddling in a blanket on the sofa, feeling sorry for ourselves. And we'd originally said we weren't going to watch this because we didn't like Series 3. And then everybody was talking about how every episode of Series 4 was going to be, like, an hour and 20, like an hour and 30. And I was like, I haven't got that in me. But then we were both off work with COVID, and we'd both got headaches, so we couldn't read books or comics, and we couldn't, like, you know, do anything really other than watch telly. So we were like, fuck it, Stranger Things. And it was really good. I'm very glad we did.
Yeah, and I was the same. When I didn't realise the episodes were like feature length until I put an episode 1 and I saw it was like an hour and 10 minutes. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
You're having a laugh.
But by the end of it, none of them felt like they overstayed their welcome, whereas I feel there was a lot of episodes in season 3 where I was kind of like...
Yeah, checking your watch.
Yeah. So all I'll say is I really, really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to the second volume. A part of me almost wished this was the last season, just because, fuck me, you were really going out on a high.
Yeah.
And all I'll say is Stranger Things will be popping up again in this show if we have time.
Excellent. I want to talk to you probably afterwards because it's spoilery about Stranger Things. But yeah, suffice to say, I would say, yeah, definitely. If you weren't keen on Series 3, still go and watch it because it's much more like Series 1.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yes, right. Do you want my second pick of the fortnight?
Yes, hit it.
I watched a film last night called RRR, which is a really hard thing to say. It's just 3 letters, but it's really annoying.
Arr.
Which stands for Rise, Roar, Revolt. Have you seen this, B?
Never even heard of it.
Okay, so this is a film that, basically everybody on Letterboxd has been ranting and raving about being one of the best things I've ever seen in their fucking lives. And so Rich said to me, "Do you want to watch it?" And I was like, "I don't really know what it's about, except that it's an Indian film." And he was like, "Yeah, let's just put it on then, why don't we?" And then it came on, and it was like 3 hours, 5 minutes, and I was like, uh-oh. And then 3 hours and 5 minutes later, I was like, holy shit, that was amazing. So this is a film. It's so hard to describe. It's about 2 real people, 2 revolutionaries from like back in the 20s during like the British occupation of India. But it's a fictitious. What's the word? Fictional? Fucking hell. It's a fictional story about what might have happened had these 2 revolutionaries met each other.
Right.
And it is one of the most fucking phenomenal things I've ever seen, because it's that on Wikipedia it's listed as an epic action drama, which is 1000% what it is, but it's also like a fucking bromance and kind of a comedy and also a bit of a Bollywood movie. So it's about these 2 revolutionaries, and I don't want to spoil it too much because I think it has to be seen to be believed, but it's 2 guys sort of fighting for the freedom of India, but in different ways, who happen across each other in an epic scene in which they're saving a little boy from a fire, which has got honestly, I can't. If you just watch that scene, right, if that doesn't sell you on this film, you're fucking bananas, man. Because I watched that scene and I was like, Rich, I don't even care what the rest of this movie is. It could be another 2.5 hours of just someone go in their armpit, but I'd be like 5 stars. It's so good. But the thing that particularly struck me about it was the way that they do the action sequences, because I will say it leans very hard into, when action sequences go like slow-mo and then sort of speed it up and then slow-mo and then speed it up again. Yeah. So it does that a lot. But I will say that the action and the movements are such that it's totally justified. And like, if they didn't do that much slow motion, you would be missing out on some of the most epic fight moves and like mid-air poses. There's bits where like one of them is like jumping and like firing a bow and arrow while the other one's like wedging a spear into a guy. It's just like, what am I even looking at? And then it'll cut from that to like a dance off at a party, and you're like, I don't know what this is. I love it. It is just, and it's so like the film itself is so much like it. It makes the British it's really a genuinely heart-wrenching story. And then like the bromance sort of friendship thing that's happening is like one of the most beautiful things ever committed to film. And I was just like, I love these 2, and I would die for them both. And then it's like Bollywood dance scene, which is great fun. So I was just like, I feel like I was getting like emotional whiplash kind of, but in like the absolute best way. I can't recommend it enough. It's great. I will say though, like on Netflix, it's only available in Hindi with English subtitles, which is not the original language it was filmed in. So it's like dubbed, okay. But it's not terribly noticeable, I don't think. And I think the voice actors do a really good job. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. Like, amazing, top-notch movie. Everyone should see.
Cool. All right. I'm going to try and check that out. I quite like the sound of that.
Oh, mate, it's wicked. If you don't...
Just for the kid from the burning building scene.
Just a minor spoiler. At one point, one of them throws a tiger at an enemy.
Okay, I mean...
I knew that would get you.
In for fucking days. Why didn't you start with that?
I don't know why I didn't start with that. What a dickhead.
So you can blame that on the COVID. That's not the Stace I know.
Yeah, watch it be. You'll love it, man. It's brilliant.
So my pick of the fortnight, I'm genuinely, this was going to be my first pick, but then Stranger Things came out and I couldn't separate the two. Actually, no, I was going to go straight with Stranger Things and this came out. Anyway, I went to see it at cinema, and all I will say is, highway to the danger zone. Gonna take you right into the danger zone. Yeah, baby. So I saw Top Gun 2 Maverick.
Nice.
My word.
I haven't seen it yet, I'll be honest.
By my word. So we went to see it. So I'll try and keep this brief. We were supposed to go. So it was my birthday. We were supposed to go and see Doctor Strange 2, all set up. We had tickets and everything. We were out and about. And then Sue got a call from the cinema. It was one of these sort of posh cinema ones we were going to say that they had a probably like a leak or something. So they'd cancelled. They're going to have to cancel the performances.
Oh.
So I was proper gutted. Anyway, Sue said to me, like, we were right next to Cineworld. We were sort of shopping. And Sue said, I've just checked and Top Gun 2 is on in 10 minutes. Do you want to go and see it? And I was like, yeah, go on then. Okay. She's like, oh, great. Because she really wanted to see it. I'm like, oh, okay, great. You know, and I really liked Top Gun. You know, but I'm like, you know, fucking hell, like Doctor Strange. Right. And she said, oh, yeah, because I think Doctor Strange is off. Anyway, we got in the cinema, sat down. And then she was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, why? She said, I've just checked and like there's loads of showings of Doctor Strange 2 here. And I turned to her and I just went, this better be fucking good. So,
It's an instant
I
divorce.
took a mouthful of popcorn and betrayal. So anyway, it started and the minute, it's a spoiler, it's not really a spoiler, within 5 minutes, they play Danger Zone.
Brilliant.
And honestly, I wanted to like rip my shirt off and stand on top of the chair and be like, yeah! Highway to the danger zone. Everyone sing, you bitches. Yeah, it was. And it did, honestly, it did let up. It did not let up. It was like I was in the 80s and I had a six pack and an afro. I don't know why I would have a six pack and an afro in the 80s, but I don't know. Because that's peak nude, and that's what this film is. This film takes to whatever peak it is for you yourself, it takes you to peak. And my peak nude was six pack and an afro. Nice.
Do you think it's better than Top Gun?
Because in many ways, it's kind of this. In many ways, it's almost to say it's a very similar film. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever seen Iron Eagle 2, it's basically the same plot. I'll just say that for you now, save you the trouble. But I think what I loved about it is it's what a sequel should be. It's kind of like it gives you the same feels that you got from the first film.
Yeah.
But it carries on the story because obviously in this one, like Maverick is older and he gets called back to Top Gun school to like train some other Top Gun pilots for this kind of secret mission. That's not really a spoiler.
No.
But one of the pilots is the son of his old co-pilot who died in the first film.
Oh, okay.
Goose, who died in the first film. And obviously there's a little bit of testosterone going on banter. And it was just awesome. I just loved it because it just made me feel like back in the 80s, and the music was awesome. The music was done by Harold Faltermeyer.
Oh, well.
From back in the day, Beverly Hills Cop. Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
And Lorne Bouth.
Oh, nice.
I remember when the credits were coming up at the beginning, it literally said music by those people, and Lady Gaga's done some tracks, but it had those three guys, and I was just like, okay, now it's my birthday. Now it's my motherfucking birthday.
Nice. I actually watched Top Gun for the first time like a week or so ago. Never seen it before. And I've got to say, I did not know what to make of that movie because it felt like a lot of scenes of either very sweaty, anxious men or just post-shower wet men. Just hung flimsily, scenes of those, just hung flimsily around some really rad aerial sequences. I was like, I don't know.
That's pretty much
I mean, I do love looking at sweaty, scantily clad men, so...
Also, Top Gun probably has one of my favourite ever lines in the film. There's just a bit of Top where, like, you've obviously seen it quite recently, so you remember, but there's a bit where, like, you first meet the woman who, like, he kind of ends up having a relationship with, and she's kind of describing this aerial manoeuvre that he did and kind of basically using it to take him down a peg or two.
Yeah.
And one of the guys from behind just leans in and just goes, "Gutsiest move I ever saw, man." And from that moment on, I just wanted someone just to come up to me and just go, gutsiest move we ever saw, man, for no reason.
Yeah, it's you walking out on stage at the Royal Albert Hall and doing a trumpet in your own face.
Yeah. And at the end, someone just coming up to me and just, when everyone's booing me, just coming up to me and going, it's the gutsiest move we ever saw, man.
It would be pretty gutsy, let's be honest.
It would be pretty gutsy. So, that's my second pick.
I can do a really fast musical musing.
Me too.
If you've got a quick trumpet in you.
Okay.
Nice. Oh, shit. It's still going. I'm going to be super quick about this because if you haven't seen this film and therefore heard this theme, you're a donkey. I recently cheated on Stace and Barry in the Morning and did a podcast that hasn't come out yet, so I think it's still secret. But it was about the movie Commando. So I picked the theme to Commando by James Horner, which is just a delightful fucking synth / steel drum / saxophone
There was
dream.
a lot of steel drums in there, I remember.
Mate, I love that soundtrack. It shouldn't work, like it really shouldn't work, based on what the movie is and where it's set. Like a weird, like I described it on this podcast as sounding like if somebody was trying to make like a porno in Jamaica, but that was like really anxious about it.
A really anxious Jamaican porno.
A really anxious Jamaican porno, because it's like there's these like sexy saxophones and then there's these like steel drum just going up like around the place, but then there's also these like drums in the background that are like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna fucking get you, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. So yeah, it's like an anxious Jamaican porno to me, but so it shouldn't work, but somehow it's like fucking the cherry on top of the fucking wonderful cake that is the movie Commando. It
really does work, and this episode has a proper 80s vibe to it.
Oh, honestly.
So my pick, which I'm going to do really quickly, is from Stranger Things. Told you to come up again, and both you and I have. See, I might go on a little bit there, but both you and I have a massive love for music in film and TV. And soundtracks and stuff, and other people do, but I think one of the reasons why we do, because we understand the importance of music to elevate scenes and mood and such.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in Stranger Things, and I won't spoil it, so I'm not going to say it, but everyone's been talking about the fact that Kate Bush is now, like, her song is at number 1, or it's getting up there, which is Running Up That Hill, which is what I've picked. Now, I don't often pick actual songs. But the way they use this in Stranger Things, they actually change it, so it's got a bit of an orchestral accompaniment to it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it is like this is like 101 how you use music to elevate a scene. The scene itself is still pretty epic, but if you take out that music, or you use a different type of music, it just doesn't work in the same way. It doesn't evoke the same emotions as that bit of music does.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where when me and Rich were watching the scene, I was like, I can't imagine this scene with a different song in it now. Like, this is how to mix visuals with music. Like, this is how you do it.
Yeah. And also, like, when music's used really well, it elevates the story, but also it's telling its own story as well. Which is why sometimes when music doesn't work in film, it kind of it jars, Yeah. That's why, like, when you hear the Raiders theme, your emotion is heroic. You hear that kind, and same with the Superman theme and stuff. And this is one of those tracks. And there's a lyric in the track which says "Make a deal with God." And the way when she sings that piece, you have this is mild spoiler, but it's not really. Basically, you have a character being lifted up in the air. Mm-hmm. And kind of like their arms are spread out, i.e. being lifted up to God. That to me is the level of attention to detail.
Yeah.
Because other people could have just gone, let's just slap Kate Bush on it.
Yeah.
And and in some ways it still would have worked. But for the likes of me and you didn't pick out those little bits where you just go, wow, okay, they've come to play. So that's my pick. It's a wicked. I can't stop watching that scene, to be honest. Yeah,
it is amazing. Absolutely amazing. The one thing I do find quite funny is the idea that there's going to be a lot of people who've never heard any Kate Bush stuff before, like suddenly finding out about Kate Bush, because I don't know if you've ever listened to the Hounds of Love album that's got Running Up That Hill on it, but there's a song on there called Waking the Witch, which might be one of the most genuinely terrifying songs anybody's ever recorded. It's a fucking nightmare. So I just love the idea of people being like, oh, Running Up That Hill's good, and just slapping that song on and shitting themselves to death.
I always liked them, and I can't remember what the song is now, but I remember the music video for it, because it had Donald Sutherland in it, and he'd like made a weather machine.
Oh, it was a cloud busting one. I don't remember.
Maybe, yeah. But I don't know if that's what the song was called or not.
Oh, I'm gonna have to have a. I was gonna say I'm gonna have to have a look it up, because I do love a bit of Kate Bush. I'll be honest. I don't think I've seen any videos. Let's have a look. Yes, it was Cloud Busting. That is a fucking tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a brilliant song, that is. Yeah, love it. Excellent choice, B.
Thank you.
Excellent choice. Do we have time for a really, really short geek all about it, or should we just sod off?
Well, bearing in mind, straight after this, I've got to go and watch Obi-Wan.
Fair enough. Fair.
No, go on, buddy. No, we can do. No, fuck it. Go.
Here's a trumpet.
Geek all about it.
Geek all about it. Entertainment Weekly have released the first look photos of the Paper Girls TV show, which is due for release on Amazon Prime on the 29th of July, and is based on a really, 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 really fucking good comic by Brian K. Vaughan, Cliff Chang, Matt Wilson, and Jared K. Fletcher. And I'm very much looking forward to it, and the pictures look great.
I've never read Paper Girls.
You should. It is about some paper delivery girls in the 80s who stumble across an alien time machine.
What?
Barry, get the fuck on it, lad.
Does any tigers get thrown in it?
No, I don't. I don't think so, but I can't guarantee, actually, because it's been a while since I read.
I put a disclaimer at the end of the episode saying no tigers were thrown at the end of this episode.
To be fair, as well, actually, just to say about the movie RRR, there is a thing that comes up at the start that's like, all the animals in this are CGI because we didn't want to put them in any of the situations we put these animals in.
I.e. throwing tigers.
Yeah, just like lopping tigers at people. Yeah. But yeah, you should definitely read Paper Girls and then watch it when it comes out, because it looks really good.
I might see if it's on Amazon. Whether the free comic is on a bit on Amazon.
Amazon nonsense.
Yeah.
There we go. That was an episode, wasn't it?
Boom.
Oh, blimey.
It was the 80s episode. I'm now going to forever call it.
Excellent. Well, hey, people, if you want to do us some talkings, you can send an email to staceandbarry@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at Geek Syndicate and at Stacey's Parlour. And if you want to hear more of us singing, I don't know, coffee or something, yeah. Or if you want to pay us to stop singing, you can do that as well. Love you, everybody.
Gonna take you right into
the danger zone.
Yeah, bitches.